Hello, and welcome to episode 13 of the Unspoken Rules podcast. I am your boy, Sebastian, aka Rabbit here. I'm here with, obviously, my wonderful co-hosts of Montana, aka Wildcard, and Mr. Blake Spillers himself. We got to get you a nickname, Blake. We got to figure something out. I'm not too sure exactly, but we got to figure something out. But today, we're going to be discussing, obviously, the games last night, what went down with that Suns Nuggets, a little sweep. The Nets Bucks, are the Nets in trouble? It's a great question. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we're gonna preview the games tonight, and of course, we got one little hot topic that me and Montana were talking about before we started the episode today. But Miss Becky Hammon is gonna be interviewing for two coaching positions. One being the Orlando Magic and two being the Portland Trailblazers. Now to ask the panel, I know Montana likes using that word. What do you guys think of that? Do you think she should take that job either in Orlando or Portland? Or should it be other people, at least with Portland? We got Chauncey Billups as a candidate as well. Do you think anybody else would fit that role better?
So as far as Becky Hammon goes, it all depends on whether or not the NBA is ready to accept female as a NBA head coaching position, and if they are, then go for it, because I think she has the potential to be a good coach. She's been under Greg Popovich for a while now, so she has some experience on that level. I know she's coached a couple summer league teams before. As far as whether she should take any of the Portland Trailblazers or the Orlando Magic jobs, no, I don't think she should. As great as an opportunity as it would be, I don't like the situations that are going on in Orlando or Portland for her to come in and turn that team around, because I don't think it's going to happen right away. She should wait for a bigger job, maybe even wait until Popovich retires to see if maybe the Spurs job opens up, because that would be somewhere maybe where she would have a better job security rather than risking it with a team like Orlando or Portland, where Orlando doesn't have a great track record with keeping head coaches longer than maybe 2 or 3 years. And Portland, you don't know what's going to happen with Damian Lillard. Do you really want to go to a situation where Damian Lillard wants to be out and CJ McCollum might be your best player? I just don't see that as a great fit.
See, I kind of disagree. I think the Trailblazers would be a perfect fit. I don't think Dame's going anywhere, not in the foreseeable future. Maybe a couple years down the line if things don't work out. But what Becky Hammon has that other coaches has is, like you said, she's been coaching under Greg Popovich. She's been seeing how to have success in the NBA. I think that's what the Trailblazers need. They need that final step to get over the hump. They've been the last 5 years, they've been a good team, but they haven't pushed into that great team yet. And I love Becky Hammon as a coach. I think she can be a great coach because I'm a huge fan of Greg Popovich. So if Greg Popovich is speaking highly of her, I think we need to take that. And I think she'll be a perfect coach. And I think it's risky for her to, you said, pass up for a better opportunity. Who knows if that better opportunity will rise anytime soon. I think if she has the opportunity to take the Trailblazers job, she should. But I agree with the Magic. The Magic, I would not touch that job. I mean, like you said, they can't keep a coach. They're rebuilding, but we'll see how that goes. What about you, Sebastian?
No, I agree with both of you guys when it comes to the Magic situation. I don't know, man. If I'm Becky Hammon and I'm looking at that Magic situation, it's like, do I want to be a part of that Magic squad, or like Montana said, and wait until the Spurs opportunity opens up and maybe I have a chance there. Now with Portland, it's kind of a toss-up because we legitimately don't know what Dame is going to do. We saw that cryptic tweet or that cryptic Instagram post talking about, do I need to go see the other opportunities or whatever the case may be. So is he going to leave, or are we finally seeing Dame leaving Portland, something that I never thought I would expect in my entire life? Or are we going to see Dame just come back and believe in this organization for another couple years? And then if that's the case, it's a toss-up of who's going to be a better coach. Becky Hammon, like you said, under Greg Pop, if he's vouching, I think that's a great fit for her because I love Portland. That team is nice. It's just they got to put a couple more pieces together for Dame. I think we've been saying that for too many years now. Now with Chauncey, I mean, this man Chauncey former player, a damn hooper. You know what I'm saying? I got mad love for Chauncey. So it's kind of like it doesn't really matter, but for the at least to stay on the Becky Hammon topic, I think Portland would be a good fit as long as you get that confirmation that D Lil does stay.
As far as Chauncey Billups goes, I don't like he would. I think he would be a great coach. Look at what Steve Nash has done for the Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously has James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, but he's had to deal with a lot of injuries between the three of them this year. So the fact that he's gotten them to this point, and I never underestimated Steve Nash. I know what his ability is as a point guard. He's a 2-time NBA MVP. I knew that he would have the chops to be an NBA head coach, and he's doing a great job. I could see Chauncey Billups doing the same thing. He's a former NBA point guard. I think point guards always have the smartest IQ for the basketball game. As far as Chauncey goes, as a head coach, I mean, a couple years ago, he was interviewing to be the president of basketball operations for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it's interesting now to see like which position does he want? Does he want to be a head coach? Does he want to be on the ground floor with the players, or does he want to be responsible for constructing that basketball team?
No, yeah. I mean, whatever Chauncey Billups decides to do, I think he's going to have success because Chauncey, Chauncey's my guy too. I love Chauncey. I mean, he was a beast on the court. I love hearing him talk on every time he's on the TV. He's got something good to say. I think he'd be perfect for a front office position. I think Chauncey has seen what you need to build an NBA championship team. I mean, he was on that Pistons team, and I think he'd be a perfect fit for a front office position.
I mean, look, he's an assistant coach right now on the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's seeing what needs to be done. At least, I guess he has those superstars with Kawhi and PG. So the same thing with Becky. If Portland gets that confirmation that Dame is staying, either one will be great coaches. I think I might lean more towards Becky again, like I said, because she's been kind of mentored by Greg Pop. But Chauncey's going to be a great coach, or whatever position he decides to do. Period. Montana, you can take it away.
All right. So I guess we are now going to move on to the next topic. We had our first game of yesterday, the Milwaukee Bucks winning 107-96 to tie the series up at 2 games apiece. The big story coming out of this game is Kyrie Irving leaving was it the second half that he left or the first half? The first half with a sprained ankle. A lot of people were joking that's the same ankle that he stomped on the Celtics logo with, so maybe it's that bad juju that's coming back to bite him. So Kevin Durant had 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists, and Kyrie Irving finished in only 17 minutes of action with 11 points, 2 assists, and 5 rebounds. As far as the rest of the roster goes, no one of note actually did help Kevin Durant at all try to win this basketball game. So there's that. As far as the Bucks go, they played their butts off yesterday. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. PJ Tucker had 13 points, 1 assist, and 7 rebounds. Chris Middleton had 19 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds. And Jrue Holiday had 14 points, 9 assists, and 3 rebounds. So the question for you guys is, with James Harden and Kyrie Irving potentially missing more time in this series, does Kevin Durant have enough to carry this team to the Eastern Conference Finals, or does Milwaukee finally reach that goal that they've been wanting to get to since losing to Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors a couple years ago?
I'll start off with I think if Kyrie and Harden don't play the rest of the series, they're not going to win. Now, I'm a huge believer in Kevin Durant, but like you saw last night, the rest of that team is good, but not good enough to beat the Bucks. Not without Kyrie, not without James Harden. You saw firsthand that when both of them went down, nobody else contributed. I mean, Kyrie had the second most points, and he didn't play past the second quarter. And that's saying something to me. But we're finally seeing, I don't want to take anything away from the Bucks. We're finally seeing the Bucks play with energy and confidence. This is what we expected going into the series. Before the first 2 games, I thought this series was going to go to 6 or 7. I thought the Bucks were going to compete regardless of injuries. But then the first 2 games came, they got blown out. And if you would have told me after those first 2 games that this series would be tied 2-2, I would have laughed at you. I mean, the Bucks got blown out in game 1. Then they got blown out in game 2. I mean, I thought this was going to be a sweep. But the Bucks have finally figured out how to play well. They're getting back to how they were playing in their series against the Heat. And I think as long as, like I said, as long as Kyrie and James Harden don't play the rest of the series, I think the Bucks are winning this in 7.
Oh, whoa. Okay. So I'm gonna give credit to the Bucks. Definitely. I kind of have this. I had this series going 6. Obviously, after the first 2, we were all saying 5 or a sweep. But no, man. With Kyrie getting hurt, the Bucks really took advantage of that. They got productive minutes from PJ Tucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not only slowing KD down, because bro, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys watched that, but that man was literally just like really like locking his kid up. That's number 1. Number 2, he scored 13 points. I don't think we've seen that in a couple games from PJ. So, he did his thing. Jrue Holiday obviously scoring 14, locking in and turning up for the squad. Obviously playing, strong defense. But Giannis being as aggressive as he has been the last 2 games, to see that, like Blake said, the confidence from this team is absolutely like insane to see the sudden change. Like, I don't know where this came from, the spark that came, but whatever, man. It's great to see, because at the end of the day, I want this series to be a long one. This was supposed to be our Eastern Conference Finals series. You know what I mean? This is what this was supposed to be. So to see this now and finally the Bucks turning around, obviously taking advantage of these injuries. I mean, Chris Middleton did his thing with 19. Do I expect a little more from him? Yes, but they won the game, so I'm not too mad. Now with Brooklyn's side of things, if Kyrie, with him leaving the freaking arena with a walking boot and crutches, I personally think he's done for the rest of the series, because with an ankle injury like that, if you're walking out with a walking boot and crutches, you're not coming back for like at least 3 weeks, at least, if it's as bad as that. You know what I'm saying? If James Harden can come back somehow, some way, it doesn't have to be next game, but if James Harden can come back like game 6, I think that the Nets do in fact win this series. But I don't know. If none of them come back, KD doesn't have it. That supporting cast is, like you guys mentioned, is not going to help them. Joe Harris needs to step up and play better. Blake has to do something a little bit better. Bruce Brown has to get big minutes. Shoot, even Mike James off the bench has to shoot the ball better. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that they're going to need from their supporting cast to help Kevin Durant out in order for them to win this series. If Kyrie and James Harden both don't play.
So as far as my opinion on this, if James Harden and Kyrie Irving do not play the rest of the series, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win the next 2 games. Because I don't think KD, because they're going to focus all their attention on Kevin Durant, and who else is going to step up on Brooklyn to make a difference? Because yesterday PJ Tucker, even though KD had 28 points, but PJ Tucker was smothering Kevin Durant the whole game, making sure that any of his shots were not going to be easy. So KD is going to get locked up like in the next game if he's the only one playing. If Kyrie Irving, I don't know how severe the injury was. I know he was in a lot of pain when he did roll that ankle. As far as James Harden goes, if he can somehow get back on that court, if he even 60% of himself, I think that's definitely beneficial to Kevin Durant, at least, because you take away some sort of attention from KD, and you're going to put it on James Harden, who I think is even more of a lethal scorer than Kyrie Irving. So I think if James Harden can somehow get back on that court, it would make a huge difference. But it's all going to depend on whether or not Brooklyn has if Kevin Durant has the chops to be a 40-point plus points per game guy the rest of the series going forward. As far as Milwaukee goes, Giannis played really well. He's playing in the last 2 games. He's played like the MVP that he used to be. Chris Middleton playing really well. Jrue Holiday is playing well. PJ Tucker gave them great contributions. So the Milwaukee Bucks are definitely playing at their A game right now. It took a little bit for them to wake up, but they're finally getting going. And look out, man, because if James Harden and Kyrie can't make that return, I do think Milwaukee wins this in 6. It would be disappointing because I do think Brooklyn is the better team. But this playoffs has just been the story of injuries and star players going out left and right in these playoffs. So it's just going to be a different rest of the playoffs, as we saw Phoenix sweeping Denver, Utah and LA. It's just going to be different. The 4 teams in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals are going to be completely different and something we haven't seen in a while.
No, yeah, I think that the Nets have definitely been being extra cautious with James Harden. I mean, they were up 2-0. They blew him out. And even after game 3, they saw themselves as not playing that bad. Like Montana, I believe, said it after that game. He said, this will be the worst game the Nets play. And I agree. And it still will be the worst game they played. I am not going to be surprised if James Harden comes back. I think James Harden probably could have played last night, maybe even game 3, but they're resting him because they thought they could win this series without him. But now without Kyrie, James Harden is, in my opinion, I give him probably like a 75% chance to come back. Hamstring tightness, yes, that's going to bother a player the rest of the game, the whole game. But I think James Harden wants this, and he didn't get traded to the Nets to lose before the Eastern Conference Finals. That's just how I feel. And in terms of the Bucks, I think if James Harden doesn't return, I said they win in 7 because I think Kevin Durant has that. I mean, he's a scorer. I think he's going to have that game where he drops 50 points and the Bucks are going to lose. But I still think the Bucks win the series without James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hit everything on there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. It's just, it's a difficult thing to say because, like, I really had these Nets like winning. You know, I had them winning the ring this year. I think a lot of people did, but just to see that injuries are really like holding them back and whatnot is just like very unfortunate to say the least. So I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, you just, in any playoff format or even in the regular season, you hate to see injuries playing an impact on the game because you want to see both teams at full strength playing their best basketball. And even if you're not a Nets fan, if you hate what they're doing, you don't want to see injuries. Not a real fan shouldn't want to see injuries, in my opinion. I want to see the best basketball on the floor. And if Kyrie and James Harden aren't on there, then you're not going to be seeing the best basketball.
All right. So as we get away from the Bucks winning 107-96 against the Brooklyn Nets, we now move on to the Western Conference, and we move on to the Phoenix Suns completing a sweep against the Denver Nuggets, winning 125-118. The highlights for the Phoenix Suns are the dynamic duo in that backcourt of Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Chris Paul had 37 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. Devin Booker had 34 points, 4 assists, and 11 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton had 12 points and 7 rebounds. And Mikal Bridges had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. The story for the Denver Nuggets is Nikola Jokic, the reigning NBA MVP, getting ejected late in the third quarter, played 28 minutes, had 22 points, 4 assists, and 11 rebounds. Will Barton had 25 points, 5 assists, and 2 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. had 20 points and 4 rebounds, and Facundo Campazzo had 14 points and 2 assists, and Monte Morris had 19 points and 6 assists. So, question to you guys is, are the Phoenix Suns the real deal? I know Sebastian thinks they are. And the other story, how do you guys perceive that Nikola Jokic? How do you guys see that? Was it a worthy ejection? Was it not a worthy ejection? Sebastian, I'll let you take it away first.
First of all, I told you so. Know what I mean? I've been said it since the very beginning of the playoffs. My Suns were going to be in the NBA Finals. They were going to win in 6 against the Lakers. I called that. They were going to win in 6. They ended up sweeping the Nuggets. I had them playing the Trailblazers, so whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But I said that was going to be in 6. They swept them. Hey, man, listen. This team, I told you, and I think I said it so many episodes ago, this team is the most consistent team that we have seen in this entire NBA playoffs. Minus, obviously, we've talked about the Nets and the Jazz. But we'll get into that. Listen, this squad with a healthy CP3 is scary. Absolutely scary. I told y'all boys that this team would be able to compete with the Jazz, and we're seeing it, man. If CP3 can just stay in his element, stay in his Duffy like he has been, like brother. But one thing to note, man, this squad believes in each other. This squad reminds me of the Miami Heat from last year. I think Blake touched on that a couple episodes ago. But you want to know why this squad reminds me of that? Because Mr. Jay Crowder is there. The GOAT himself, Mr. Jay Crowder, from the Miami Heat organization last year to the Phoenix Suns this year, working, doing his thing on the defensive side of things, obviously hitting some shots that he needs to. But we're forgetting, Montana. I think we can both agree. You know what I'm saying? I think we can both agree. The real King James is out in Phoenix, and that's Mr. James Jones, the greatest GM ever in the entire NBA. The man is setting this team up for greatness. This
Bro,
man,
you on crack.
listen. The man got Monty Williams there. The man got CP3 there. The man got freaking Jay Crowder there. The man put the pieces around Devin Booker in order for them to be successful, and they're winning a ring this year if and only if the Brooklyn Nets do not have their squad. If they fall out of the freaking playoffs and they lose because they got all these injuries, I got the Phoenix Suns winning in 6. I don't care who they play. You know what I mean? That's number one. Now I rode the damn Suns coattail too much. I talked about it. That's it. Let's move on. Now, Jokic. NBA is soft. You could get mad at me. You could hate on me. I don't like where the NBA is today at all. This is ridiculous. This man said it in his presser that he just wanted to get a hard foul. You know what I mean? A hard foul to motivate and kind of like show the team that, yo, we need to step up, bro. We're just playing softer right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's very unfortunate that the league or the refs called that a flagrant 2, because let's be honest, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk business. If that's the Los Angeles Lakers, anybody on the Lakers, if that's the Los Angeles Lakers, if that's, you know what I'm saying? If that's LeBron James, what are they going to call? They're going to call that a hard foul. You know what I'm saying? That they're going to call that a hard foul, maybe a flagrant 1 because he did touch his nose, maybe. But we're not calling a flagrant 2 right there, bro. We're not calling that a flagrant 2 if it's anybody else. But of course, because it's not the Lakers, because it's not LeBron James, because it's not any of those teams that the freaking NBA love, and rather, you know what I'm saying? They call the flagrant 2. The NBA is just mad soft. I hate where it's going. I hate where it's leading to. You know what I'm saying? But look, at the end of the day, they didn't get their productive minutes, their productive like points and all that stuff from MPJ. The man clearly was in not this game, but you could see during that series he was definitely hurting with his stiff back and all of that he got in game 1. So it's unfortunate to see that kind of like injuries really slowed MPJ down. He couldn't get back in a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just was very unfortunate for that man to literally just try and find a rhythm like he was in the Portland series. And so I think the Nuggets have a lot of big decisions coming into the next year. I know they were mentioning they have to pay Jokic mad money. Are they going to keep and rely on MPJ? Is it a completely different series if Jamal is playing, if he was actually healthy? I don't think so. I think the Suns, maybe they don't get swept. Maybe the Nuggets get a game. But I still think the Suns would have won in 5 or 6, even if Jamal was playing. To see Will Barton back, though, was huge for them to at least, have some momentum and have some positive light going into the offseason and whatnot. But, I mean, bro, it's just very annoying because that game, like, how they finished strong without Jokic, just to think that the Nuggets really could have won that game with Jokic is so irritating to me because that should not have been a flagrant foul.
Well, as far as Jamal Murray goes, I think he would have made a huge difference. I
agree. But the thing is,
arguably last year in the playoffs was their best player. He had multiple 50-point games. He literally put the team on his back when he was the best player on the Denver Nuggets last year. There was no doubt in my mind. Yes, he started off slow this season, but he picked up his pace and he averaged a good solid around 22 points per game. That's good enough for the regular season. If I had to guess in the playoffs, he would be the best player on the court too because he's a lethal scorer. He's the point guard of the team. He pushes the ball down the floor. He's the general for the squad. I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is the problem. I think he's only going to get better. He really, as soon as Jamal Murray went out this year, he stepped into his element and played that number 2 that we thought he could be coming out of college. So when Jamal Murray gets back, they have a legitimate big 3 on their hands. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that when Jamal Murray comes back, that he's going to be that solid point guard for the Denver Nuggets. They got the pieces. Honestly, they just gave up. I think, in my opinion, the Nuggets just gave up. That's all it is, because I don't know how they felt about their chances going forward without Jamal Murray. They definitely have the bench pieces. They have the MVP in Nikola Jokic. They have Michael Porter Jr. They have Will Barton, who came back late in the series and he put up respectable numbers. I think the missing piece is definitely Jamal Murray, because once you get his scoring back on that team, the whole dynamic changes for Denver. I think if he was healthy, I think Denver would have won the series, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But as far as the Suns go, Chris Paul, he's turned back the clock, and I have to give him that credit. I think whoever doubted Chris Paul should really just I don't know what they're doubting, because he's a great point guard. He's probably one of the top 10 point guards of all time. He's a difference maker. He's a leader. He teaches people how to win. He's a winner. So I mean, he's been through the fire, and he's done everything. He's literally done everything. He's missing that. I think this is his first Western Conference Finals appearance, and that's crazy to think of.
Second.
No, second. Second.
Rockets.
There was the Rockets.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
That's right.
He just didn't. He was injured. Yeah, he was just injured.
Yeah, but this is gonna be the first time where he's really gonna have an impact on the team.
Yeah.
And I think they legitimately have a shot to go to the NBA Finals. Like, I think the Suns are definitely the best team in the West. Devin Booker, I can't say enough about that guy. He's really turning into something special. So I think as far as DeAndre Ayton goes, yes, he had 12 points, but they really didn't need him scoring. But as far as if they do play Utah or LA, I definitely like it's going to be a tough series. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be a pushover like it was against Denver, but I do like Phoenix going forward as the team to beat in the West.
Let me get in there really quick, Blake.
Yeah, no
Montana.
problem.
What did I say, man? You said, bro, DeAndre Ayton has to get 20 plus. I said, no, man, they're going to feed the hot hand. You know what I'm saying? They rely on their hot hand. Whoever's going off is going off. They don't really, you know what I'm saying? If they see an advantage they want to take with DeAndre, then they'll take advantage of it. But DeAndre doesn't need to score anything when you got freaking CP3 and Devin Booker going crazy. You know what I mean? Listen, bro. Look, all I got to say is really quick. I called the Suns making it to the finals. You know what I'm saying? Now everyone wants to be like, oh, okay, hold on. The Suns are actually the real deal. No, man. I've been seeing it. Go ahead. My bad, boy.
All right. First, I'm going to have to agree with Montana in the sense that if Jamal Murray was playing, it would have been a completely different series. I'm saying they would have gone to 7, in my opinion, for sure. I think the Suns still win the series because I like the Suns still over the Nuggets. But Jamal Murray's a bucket, and that's what they were missing. Jokic was doing his thing every game. Jokic didn't have a bad series. The Nuggets had a bad series. With Jamal Murray, I think it's a different story because then everyone gets pushed back one. Michael Porter Jr. isn't expected to hit those tough shots. He's going to be getting open shots. Aaron Gordon's going to be getting open shots. They just weren't getting those open shots in this series. And when you lose your point guard, that's what you're expecting. But luckily they had Jokic, who is a point center, which helps a little bit, which is what got them through round 1. But they were definitely missing it in round 2 against the Suns. But going back to what Sebastian said earlier about the league being soft, I couldn't agree more. The league is soft. Everything is, a hard foul 20 years ago is a flagrant 2 today.
Amen.
But with the rules are today, I have to agree with the call on Jokic. I don't agree with the sense that I like it, but with how the rules are today, it was the right call. With how soft the league is today, it was the right call. He winded up. He hit him in the face. He literally admitted to the rule after the game, saying he wanted to commit a hard foul.
Yeah,
he
that's what he said.
Exactly.
A hard foul, though.
He had intent, and the rule for flagrant 2 is having a malicious intent, which is what he had technically.
Bro.
It doesn't mean I like the call, but I have to agree with it because how the rules are set right now, it's the right call. And Jokic admitted to it. He said he had the intent to foul him hard. If he doesn't hit him in the face, he's not getting called with that foul. But he did hit him in the face. And sadly, that's what it took for the Nuggets to wake up. If the Nuggets played with the type of intensity and just the energy that they did in that fourth quarter without Jokic, the entire series, they at least win 1 or 2 games, even though the Suns still win the series. We didn't see that type of energy the entire series from the Nuggets, and it took an ejection from their best player, sadly, to put it in them.
That's what his whole intention was. Not to actually hit him in the face. The intention was not to hit him in the face. Obviously, his intention was to get a hard foul on Cameron Payne right there to amplify the energy of the team, like you said. Like, it was literally just to wake them up. You know what I'm saying? Because they were it wasn't a bad game. I think it was a 12-point game at that point. So it was somewhat of a close game. They could bounce back. They just need to hit a couple shots and get some stops. And so that was his full intention. But for him to get ejected like that because he freaking love tapped his nose, bro, come on. What are we, freaking Patrick Beverly flopping? Oh my God. No, bro, come on. Let's be real here, all right? Let's be real here, bro.
It was the wind-up. It was the wind-up that did
it doesn't matter. It doesn't, listen. It doesn't matter if he goes, all right, listen. All right? It doesn't matter what he does. The fact of the matter is the league is soft. That should not. If it's anybody else, that's a bigger name. Even though he won the MVP, which still blows my mind how they're just going to do that to the MVP. If it's anybody else that's been here longer in the NBA, like a LeBron, like an Anthony Davis, like anybody on those freaking, you know what I'm saying? Any of those players, they're getting at most, a flagrant one. At most. I think we even saw something worse in the Lakers-Sun series, and AD only got a flagrant one. Like, bro, a love tap to the nose, the kid sells it, and they're just saying because he looked like he was so aggressive. Nah, bro. I just don't like where the NBA is. I don't like that call. I don't care if that's the damn rules. I don't give a rat's booty hole. If I don't care, bro. I don't care. This is stupid. I hate the NBA and where we're going because, like you said, a flagrant, whatever, a hard foul is a flagrant too. Like, bro, listen, let's go back to the 90s, bro, where punching was a goddamn, not even a flagrant. Punching was just a goddamn tech, and that's it. Let's just go back. Let's go back to where fighting was literally just a common foul. Let's go back to that. I'd rather see that than goddamn a love tap to the nose, flagrant two. Man loses the damn. Nah, bro, I'm not. Let me just shut up before I get tight.
No,
go ahead.
I mean,
take over.
I
That's kind of
definitely
getting
agree.
ridiculous. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's. I was just gonna say. I mean, I definitely agree that the league's soft, but I mean, Jokic knows that. It's not like it's a mystery that the league's soft and that they're gonna. I mean, flopping's the thing. And yes, did Cameron Payne sell it? Of course he did. But so would any other NBA player in that situation. I mean, we're in a league full of floppers. Everyone's gonna sell that. He got hit in the face, even if he didn't get hit hard. The windup made it look like he got hit hard at least. And the refs are going to see that. And what are the refs supposed to say? I mean, the angle showed him getting hit in the face. Jokic winded up. I mean, it is what it is. Do I like the call? No. Do I agree that I wish we could go back to the day where that is just a common foul and it gets the teams going? Yes. But I mean, it's just not where the league is right now.
I don't agree exactly. I really don't think that it was a flagrant two, honestly. In my opinion, if you're flopping in the NBA, you should be either given a technical foul or something needs to happen where the NBA needs to create a rule to penalize teams who are doing this because it's just getting out of hand.
I mean, Montana, they have that 15,000 freaking fine, sometimes 25K. But at that point, to anybody in the freaking NBA, that's goddamn pocket change. So they'll afford that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't fine them. You have to give them either a tech or eject them from the game to teach them a lesson or something because it just has to stop. The game is turning into a game of theatrics rather than actually playing basketball on the court, and it's ridiculous just to see what the NBA is just turning into. It's not fun for the fans. It's not fun. I'm sure it's not fun for the players that are actually wanting to play the game hard and the right way. I know the king of flopping is LeBron. I know he's the king of the theatrics. So he's the number one culprit that we have to stop in order to. So NBA put a bounty on his head right now, if you got to, for next season. So we know that they're taking it seriously. As far as the fight goes, Devin Booker, what is he doing, man? Like,
God, Montana.
What he thinks he could take down a 6'10" Serbian? This guy is built like a freaking monster right now. And Devin Booker is not that big compared to Jokic. So it's I don't think, and Devin Booker's risking getting a technical foul or something like that that can carry over into next series or something. Here we go. All right, Sebastian, go ahead.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, Montana. Listen. This is like what Jokic did, and this will go back. Yes, he did a hard foul, whatever, he hit him in the nose. Listen, from Devin Booker's POV, which is exactly what Blake said from the ref's perspective, it looks like he made a hard foul with the whole wind-up, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you want your star player, you want your either a Jay Crowder or a star player in Devin Booker or CP3. We've seen it in different situations, different teams, this, that, and the third. Look, we saw it in the freaking Lakers Rockets back in the day when CP3 and Rondo did that whole little, you know what I'm saying? When Brandon Ingram shoved James Harden and then Chris Paul got in the way, yo, chill out. And then Rondo stepped in, what's up? And then poked him. Like, bro, listen, we've seen it time and time again. Anybody is going to step up for their teammates because at the end of the day, that's your brother. You know what I'm saying? That's your teammate. You're going to ride and die with him at the end of the day. So, period, plain and simple. I like what Devin Booker did. The foul was definitely dummy soft, but at the end of the day, you have to step in and show Cameron Payne that you got his back no matter what because Cameron Payne, flopped, sold it, got hurt. My nose. But at the end of the day, listen, Devin Booker did what he needed to defend him. I mean, we even saw it in the Lakers series when Devin Booker fouled Dennis Schroeder. You know what I'm saying? AD stepped up for him, and then Jay Crowder got in his face rather than Devin Booker. You know what I'm saying? So we've seen this time and time again from everybody in the Stars supporting their teammates if they got hurt or whatever the case may be. So I mean, it's you're just supporting your brother. You're showing love. You know what I'm saying? You're just defending them and backing them up and whatnot.
I agree to the sense that D-Book had to step in there for his teammate, but let's not act like D-Book knew what he was doing. He knew he wasn't going to get in a fight. He knew nothing was going to. He knew nothing was going to come. I mean, it's a fake tough. I mean, that's all it is to it. It's fake tough, but he had to do it for his teammate. And like you said, Montana, if he really thought he was going to get in a fight with Jokic, especially since Jokic had he already been? I can't even remember. Was he already ejected at that point? Had Jokic already been ejected before D-Book? Yeah. Exactly. Jokic had nothing to lose at that point. If D-Book legitimately thought he was going to get into a fight, he wouldn't have stepped up. I mean, and that's just my opinion. He would have. It's just how the league is. He wouldn't have stepped up.
He has no intention of getting in a fight. It was just to get in Jokic's face and be like, yo, watch yourself. What do you think you're doing? It's literally just him. It's just banter. It's straight just banter, crap talking. You know, he probably even said, yo, your team is ass. Like, you need to come to Phoenix, bro, or something. He said something along those lines, like, you suck, you're garbage. Get, you know what I'm saying? Get out of my damn
So
court.
every argument turns into, yo, you got to come to my team, bro. I need you.
You never listen. You never know. You never know. It probably, you know what I'm saying? He probably went freaking nose to nose. Yo, you're ugly. You know what I'm saying? You're stupid. Get the hell out of here. I'm the MVP. I own you. I'm your dad. He could have said some stuff like that. We don't know what he could have said. You know what I mean? But they definitely were just going back and forth. It was just random argument. Devin Booker had no intention of getting attacked. Devin Booker had no intention of fighting this man. I think nobody's going to fight Jokic, bro. The man already, like we said, already got ejected. Devin Booker already knew that. So, you know, why risk that? He's not going to, but he had to get in his face to prove his dominance, one, to prove that he's there for his teammate, two, and to prove that he's a badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, Devin Booker is the man right now. And so he said, screw it, bro. I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to let you know.
And are we going to ignore, like, did everyone see what Jokic's brothers looked like when he got handed the MVP in game 3? Oh, my goodness. D-Book, if all I'm saying is if Jokic would have gotten in a fight, we're in Denver, which means Jokic's brothers are probably there. And those are two guys I am not messing with. They looked big. And, like, they're Jokic, but ripped. Those guys took Jokic. I saw the funniest thing. Those guys took Jokic off the streets. They saw he had the talent. They were the grittiness behind the Jokic name. And if Nikolai gets in a fight, you know those two are coming out of the stands, ready to throw hands.
It's about to be a Palace in the Malice, but in Detroit. I mean, in Denver, not Detroit. My bad. Oh, it's whatever. Malice in the Palace, Palace in the Malice, whatever. Same crap.
All right, guys. All right. So as we move on from this scintillating, heated topic that we had going on in this discussion, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't followed the Apple Podcast, the Spotify, please do so. If you haven't rated, give us a rating, review the show. Please give us any kind of review, even if you just say one word. I would just want to read it. So please give us a review. If you guys are listening to us right now on YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment, like the video. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our socials on Unspoken Rules on Instagram, Twitter. So with that, let's get to the previews of tonight's basketball games. We have the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. The Sixers are up 2-1, and we have the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 4 against the Utah Jazz, up 2-1, or not up 2 games. Utah Jazz are up 2-1, not the Clippers. So with you guys, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks are getting ready for Game 4. I was wrong about Atlanta last game. I don't know what the heck happened. But obviously, Philadelphia is playing like the better team right now, and they finally flipped the switch defensively and offensively. They're playing at a really high level right now. I think I'm ready to switch my opinion on the Atlanta Hawks. I think Philly is going to win tonight, and they're going to win Game 5. I think they're just too overmatched for the Atlanta Hawks, but I could be wrong. What do you guys think on the situation at hand with this game?
Sure. I definitely agree with you. I think the 76ers are just the better team. And I've thought that from the beginning, and Hawks winning Game 1 maybe changed the perspective. At least the Hawks are better than I thought they were, but they're not ready yet. They're a couple years behind where they need to be to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even be contenders. The Hawks are good, though, but the 76ers are stacked in comparison. I mean, Joel Embiid, the Hawks can't stop him. Tobias Harris will go get you buckets. Ben Simmons gets a lot of hate for his free throw shooting, but Ben Simmons does everything. I mean, other than shooting, he does everything else well. He's a good traditional point guard in the sense, even though 6'10" isn't a traditional point guard, in the sense that he's pass first. He's going to look for his teammate always. He's not necessarily looking to score. And they've got a perfect team built around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. You've got shooters on the floor with Seth Curry and Danny Green. You've got that bucket getter in Tobias Harris. You've got a good bench. I mean, I love Shake Milton, Korkmaz, Thibault. You've got a good bench. Dwight Howard, I love that man. He played great minutes for the Lakers last season. He's playing great minutes for the 76ers right now. He just brings an energy and toughness to the floor that most teams just don't have. And I think, like Sebastian or like Montana said, I think the 76ers take care of business tonight and they take this series out in 5.
I think what we're seeing right now is the inexperience from this young core out in Atlanta. I think once after that game 1, Doc turned the script in the sense of his coaching and really locked in on 1, slowing down Trae Young, and 2, coming out with a stronger defensive mindset. That's exactly what they needed to do. And credit to Doc, credit to them boys. Like they have that experience from not only a coaching staff, but obviously from their players being in this situation many different times. So credit to the Sixers, bro. Obviously, it would have been nice to watch the Hawks advance just because they're young. You know what I'm saying? Like I only made that statement for the simple fact that they were young, and I wanted the young core to just prove the dominance and show everybody what's good. But as soon as Trae Young got slowed down, it is what it is. You can't expect your supporting cast to drop 21 every single night, because somebody like Bogdan will have 25, then John Collins will have like 11, Kevin Huerter will have 15, Danilo will have whatever the case may be. If Trae Young has under 20 or anywhere between 19 and 28, they're not going to win because that supporting cast is not consistently dropping the 20 plus that they're going to need to, especially with, like you mentioned, Blake, Joel Embiid's dominance, which is absolutely disgusting. Tobias getting a bucket, averaging 22, 23 this series. Like, they're here to play. They're here to win. I think you're completely right. I think we see this series done ASAP Rocky. And yeah, bro, if you don't get that 20 to 25 expectation from Bogdan, Gallo, John Collins, and Kevin Huerter, those 4, 20 to 25 a night, if Trae Young is going to average 19 to 25, they're not winning those series. They're not winning the ball game. They're not because Philly's main focus is slowing Trae Young down. And because that's their focus and that's been working, and you're not getting that level of productivity from the other guys, I mean, it is what it is. I think they're a couple pieces away, though. They're a nice squad. I like them.
I've got a quick question for you, too. If because there's a lot of basketball to be played. If it's the Sixers versus the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, who do you like more to win?
Well, I hate both teams, so I really don't care.
Well, in the sense of who, I didn't mean like who do you like more. I meant like
no, I know. Oh yeah,
I would say the Philly would be the better team in my opinion. That's just I think it'd be a great series to watch because I know they played each other tough in the regular season, but I like Milwaukee. I mean, I like Philly's bench more than I like Milwaukee's bench.
I can agree simply because at least this series, we're seeing a completely different bench than what we saw in the Heat series, at least in Milwaukee's perspective. Bryn Forbes finally had 10 points. I think it's the first time this series. I could be hella wrong. I know. Bobby Portis is nowhere to be found. So you got Philly with Shake. You said it. Matisse Thybulle. Love that dude. Great vlogs. I think we should see more of those, Matisse, if you ever see this, which you probably won't. What else? Shake Milton, Hooper. The man's doing his job. Like that squad. Oh, and Korkmaz. That team. Dwight Howard. Like that team goes deep. You know what I'm saying? They have that experience of playoff basketball, as well as obviously, I hate to say it, but Dwight Howard, an NBA champion. Look, bro, they have that experience off their bench. Milwaukee just doesn't. I mean, I guess Forbes has a ring too, right? I don't even know. But Forbes and Bobby Portis compared to Dwight and how deep 76ers go, I agree with Montana when it comes to the bench ability. And honestly, I like their starters a lot more better than the damn Milwaukee Bucks starters. But yeah, I guess if I had to say the 76ers would be a better squad. Now, I don't want either one of those teams to win, so I need either the freaking Hawks to somehow figure out, turn this around, or I need the damn James Harden to come back and just, beat these damn Bucks. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate both of those squads. So if the Nets can hurry up and lock this up, let's go. And if the Hawks can lock this up, let's go. There you go.
Yeah, so as far as I don't think I went into the series after game one. I don't know what happened from game one to now.
Focus,
like
defensive,
the Hawks look like a different team than they were in game one. And I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't say that the Hawks are gonna win the series in 6, because I did say that they were. But Philly is definitely playing. They turned up the switch on defense and offense. Joel Embiid doesn't look like he even had a meniscus injury. Like, he's still playing at a high dominant level, even with the limited mobility he has. I'm sure he's playing with a lot of pain at the moment. Tobias Harris, everyone can give him a lot of crap for that contract that the Philadelphia 76ers gave him, but it's turning out to be worth it because the guy he can score at will for that basketball team. Ben Simmons, at this point, I give up on trying to figure out if he's going to score the basketball or not. He's more of the guy that's going to rebound and push the pace for the team. He might be one of the most overpaid players to do that, but that's his role. So he plays good defense at the point guard position. So I'll give him that. As far as Atlanta goes, they are maybe a couple pieces away from being actual contenders. I feel like Trae Young needs maybe an actual superstar to play with him next to him next year. If they can somehow find someone else to play with him, I think that would be the key. There's a couple teams that I think need that, but like Doncic needs one. Trae Young definitely needs one because I don't see John Collins. He's a solid 3 player, but he's not a superstar. If they can find a veteran superstar to play alongside him, I think the Hawks are definitely going to be a contender in the Eastern Conference. But they're just missing that one piece because Trae Young can't be the guy that does everything. You need to have that next consistent scorer as well as have all these other bench pieces that you have. But it's definitely interesting to watch, and it's gonna be interesting if Philadelphia wins the series and to see who they match up with on the other side of the bracket in the East. So I guess we'll have to see as the series goes forward.
I think maybe this is a reach, but I like Karl Anthony Towns to the Hawks. I think it'd be a good.
There's a lot of places
match.
he would be good at.
No, yeah, I mean Karl Anthony Towns is a generational type player, but I think if he goes to the Hawks, it makes them a contender because the one thing that they're missing there is, yes, Clint Capella, I love him as a center. He rebounds the ball, plays great defense, but imagine him coming off the bench. You add him to the bench, you throw Cat in that starting lineup, they're looking dangerous, that's for sure.
He would be a better replacement for John Collins. I know that Minnesota was trying to get John Collins in the trade deadline, so maybe they could find a way to do a sign and trade.
Oh, yeah, you could be right.
All right, Sebastian, ready for that next topic that we have?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Los Angeles Clippers, after the blowout win in Game 3, get ready for Game 4 against the Utah Jazz. I said the Clippers in 7. I still think, as much as I want to say that Utah is really good, I think they might have had a little bit of an off game in Game 3. Paul George and Kawhi came to play in Game 3. They were not going to get swept. I'm confused. This series is just really flip-flopping swaying my decisions a little bit. I want to say that the Clippers are still going to win the series just because I like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George more than I like Donovan Mitchell as leaders and as players that have been there and done that already. Maybe not Paul George, but Kawhi Leonard for sure. Well, I can't say that. Paul George did battle against the Miami Heat a lot in those early years of his career. So, I mean, it's just going to be this. When I look at this series, it could go either way at this point. I could definitely see the Clippers winning tonight, sending this back two games apiece, and from there, you never know what's going to happen. As good as Donovan Mitchell is, I don't know if the road and home splits are very drastic. That's why they're losing this game. Yeah, that's why they lost Game 3. But it's just, I think the Clippers are definitely good. I think they're going to win tonight.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Clippers win tonight and tie the series up. And after Game 2, I mean, I said the Clippers are in good shape. They just need their superstars to step up, and they did. Kawhi had 34 and 12. Paul George had 31. Reggie Jackson had another solid performance. Sebastian, another solid performance. Yes, I said that. Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, it was a solid performance, but it wasn't freaking. What's it called? 7,000 threes, 30-something points. So I don't know. You could say
You don't,
solid,
yeah,
I
but
guess.
they don't
But
need
whatever.
him to do that.
I'm just saying. I don't care, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care.
As long as
I don't care.
if Kawhi and Paul George each score 30, the Clippers are not going to lose, I don't think. Because, yeah, I like the Jazz. I mean, the Jazz had decent performances that game. I mean, Donovan Mitchell went out and did his thing at 30. English had 19. Clarkson had 14. Rudy Gobert had 12. Royce O'Neal had 12. I mean, they just couldn't stop the Clippers. And the Clippers play good enough defense. They hustle on that side of the floor that they can force tough shots from the Jazz. And I just don't think that the Jazz have enough backcourt defense to stop the Clippers. Rudy Gobert is the defense player of the year. That's great and all, but he's not going to step out at the three-point line and be able to guard Kawhi. He's not going to be able to step out and guard Paul George. They'll blow right by him. That's why I think that the Clippers win this series when it all boils down to. I think they're going to be able to get easier shots. They've got better players. That doesn't take anything away from the Jazz. I think the Jazz have a more maybe complete team. They have a better bench than the Clippers do. But the Clippers superstars, I think, are just going to outmatch the Jazz and push them into the Western Conference Finals.
It's very sad how everybody's forgetting what this Jazz team has. Well, god damn. I don't know if you guys heard that freaking thunder.
Thunderstruck.
Jesus Christ. All right. But where was I saying?
Happening at my end too.
I'm surprised that you guys are completely forgetting the man that leads that team. Yes, I know Donovan Mitchell does, but Mike Conley. We have not seen him play this entire series. And I told you, Blake, from the very beginning of this series, that game one was a huge win if the freaking Clippers, would take advantage. There's a huge game without Mike Conley. The Clippers needed to win. He doesn't play, the Jazz win. Game 2, same thing. They don't win, he doesn't play. Game 3, another opportunity. Another game where Mike Conley is not playing that you need to take advantage of. Because if you lose to the Jazz with no Mike Conley, I'm sorry, but you're just ass. It doesn't come down to this, that, and the third. Mike Conley's a playmaker for that squad. Bogdan tweaked his ankle in the third quarter, so he was already shooting horrible. I think he went 2 for 10. We're not seeing a 2 for 10 performance from Bojan. We're not seeing that performance again. Jordan Clarkson started off extremely slow. I think he finished, 5 for 16, 14 points. We're not seeing that again. Joe Ingles, 19. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not seeing that again. Bojan's going to have those points. Royce O'Neal, 12 is valid. I think Rudy has a couple more points. And D. Mitch tweaked his ankle with 7 minutes left in, I forgot what quarter, but he tweaked his ankle and he was out for 5-6 minutes. Came back and finished with 32 minutes. I mean, listen, he started out slow. Donovan Mitchell started out horrible because I remember me and my boys were talking about that game. He started out horrible. Jordan Clarkson started out slow. Bojan started out slow. I think this is, even though they scored 106 points, I think this is the worst game we will see from the Utah Jazz. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know what I'm saying? I think collectively, this is the worst shooting performance we will see from this team. I think Jordan Clarkson comes back in his bag tonight, I should say, have 20 plus. I think Bojan has 15 to 19 plus. I think Joe Ingles goes back to his little 10. And I think Donovan Mitchell comes out 35 plus. And I still think they win tonight. I have them winning in 6. And if Mike Conley, which I'm seeing might not play, he's still questionable. If Mike Conley plays, it's a completely different series. The Utah Jazz will, in fact, win, and they are a better team than the damn LA Clippers. If Mike Conley does not play, then credit to the Clippers. They probably will win tonight and take advantage with that momentum off that last performance.
Do we think that Mike – oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying. Everyone's forgetting how good the Utah Jazz played in game 1 and 2. I'm one of those people because – they played completely, and the Clippers played completely better than the Jazz in Game 3. But that's why I'm saying it's confusing for me to make a decision on who's going to win the series because I just don't know. Because Utah played really well in Game 1 and 2, but they did not play well in Game 3. Can they turn it around in Game 4?
Bro. They tweaked their ankles,
they can.
Bro.
They can definitely turn it around in Game 4. But the Clippers are playing. It's not like they've been the first 2 games were blowouts, but the Clippers are definitely playing tough. They just got the bad end of the stick in the first 2 games. They won. Obviously, they got the right mojo going in the Game 3. I think Kawhi, the key for the Clippers is Kawhi Leonard. If he doesn't score 30 points or more, they're not going to win the game because they need him to score the basketball and not just be defensive Kawhi Leonard. They need him to be offensive with Kawhi Leonard as well as Paul George. He needs to keep what he's doing going because he's playing really well right now. So if they can both play at a high level that they are and get contributions from Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum played really well in game 3. If they can get guys like Luke Kennard off the bench, even get a couple minutes from DeMarcus Cousins here and there, if you can give them maybe 5 points, that's something that can help. So like it's just even Zubac, who they took out of the starting lineup, I think. He played 13 minutes, but even the 13 minutes, he played really hard. He played really good on defense. He gave them good minutes. So I think it's just tough to call the series, but I do think LA is going to win tonight's game.
No, yeah, I think tonight's game is really going to show how serious Mike Conley's injury is, I think. The first couple games, they sat him out, and I thought, okay, you win game 1, and you risk it in game 2 to see if you can win that without Mike Conley. And after they win that, you're up 2-0, so I don't blame them for sitting him in game 3. But game 4 is going to show whether that injury is serious or not. He's obviously questionable for every game, which questionable is the biggest. Literally questionable is so questionable. Like, what does that even mean? Like, sometimes it's serious and sometimes it's not. But I think tonight it's going to really show how much that injury is bothering Mike Conley. Because if I'm Mike Conley and I'm at 75 to 80%, I'm playing tonight. I'm not risking this series getting tied up at 2. Even if you're going back to Utah after this game, a 3-1 series lead is huge in comparison to the series tied at 2-2, obviously. So if Mike Conley doesn't play tonight, him playing in the series I don't think he plays in the rest of the series if he doesn't play tonight. If that injury is nagging him that much. But to go off what you said, yes, I think if Mike Conley's on the Jazz, they probably have a more complete team, Sebastian, even though I've been saying since game 1 that I think the Clippers win in 7. I was kind of in agreement with Montana. I believe when Nathan was on the show, you and Nathan both said the Jazz and me and Montana both said the Clippers. But I mean, the Clippers are playing well. I mean, you're saying that the Jazz aren't going to play that bad again. Well, you're forgetting it's the Clippers that were forcing those tough shots. The Jazz in the first 2 games were hitting shot after shot, but they weren't tough shots. They had a lot of easy shots in the lane. They had open jumpers. But in game 3, the Clippers adjusted. And I think that's what's going to come down. That's where the series is going to come down to. Who's going to make more adjustments? And right now, the Clippers made the adjustments in game 3 to win, and we'll see what happens tonight.
I mean, Sebastian. At the end of the day, bro, Bojan tweaked his ankle and was playing suspect. I mean, he still played 36 minutes, but you can't shoot on a tweaked ankle, bro. You can't shoot right. You know what I'm saying? Especially like if you're not like a with that superstar mentality. Bojan don't got that. Tweaked his ankle. D. Mitch tweaked his ankle, but he came back in and finished the rest of the game. I don't know, man. Listen, at the end of the day, this is a completely different game with Mike Conley. Will be a completely different game tonight. You know what I'm saying? Bojan's not going to play horrible like he did. And I'm just, I got freaking Utah tonight, 3-1.
3-1. All right, so we're all on different sides of the game here. All right, so I think that's going to be it for today's show, guys. If you guys are watching the YouTube stream right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment, tell us how we can improve the show. If you guys like what you're seeing, let us know in the comments. If you guys are listening on audio formats, leave a follow, rate/review the show. It helps us a lot. As far as that goes, you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Wildcard Movies. Sebastian, where can they find you?
Rabbit FL everywhere.
And they can find me at Blake Spillers on Twitter and Instagram as well.
I want to thank everyone for watching today's show and listening to us on the audio formats and the video formats. So we really appreciate it. And that's going to be it for today's episode of Unspoken Rules. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for another interesting debate between the 3 of us. Peace.
See you guys.